Welcome back to a new video. My name is Jort and I'm a profitable day trader with over 5 years of trading experience. And in this series, over the course of 4 videos, I'm going to showcase you my full A to Z strategy. And what I do is I go against the majority. I'm trading into liquidity traps and I understand liquidity to a T. And this is what I'm going to teach you in the course of 4 videos. Well, definitely hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and if you got any questions during these videos, put them in the comment section because I'm happy to go over your questions. All right, let's talk no more and jump into the chart. All right, so now we're looking at GBP USD, and this is a trade I took, a trade I shared with my live community in the Discord. I share every trade I take just for educational purposes, but also that everyone that's in my VIP can take the same trades as I do and can earn whilst learning. This is exactly what you're going to learn in the course of my 4 video series, and this is a replay obviously, and I will show you how I entered on these trades, how I take these trades, and how we can see how price is just hunting the liquidity that's over here. So this was a trade that played out pretty nice. It went straight to take profit, and it has a main reason, because liquidity. And liquidity is very important by understanding how these markets operate, because liquidity is nothing more than other participants going in and out of trades. That easy. So when we understand that we're talking about other participants, we're talking about different strategies, support and resistance, smart money traps, trend lines, Fibonacci. All those other traders are entering with their entry confirmations, and we like to go against them. But before we go into this detailed work, into these very nice and clean 1 minute setups where we enter on the 1 minute, we use mainly higher time frame liquidity and higher time frame structure to understand where price at and where price wants to go. So what I mainly do is I start on the daily or the weekly to determine, look, don't take too much account of everything that's here because I've been teaching for quite some time. But what we need to understand is where liquidity is and what the market is showing us. So I start on a daily time frame by understanding what structure is telling me. And structure shows us that we had a low in the market, a high, then we broke that structure, create a lower low, lower high, lower low. That means that our current range is from this high to this low. The daily is bearish, but we have to understand what liquidity tells us, right? What do we have over here? We have an area of support. Every area which has a supply, has an order block, or is just a low, occasionally also will have a support area, or in other words, a resistance area. Pretty obvious, right? Because price reacts from that area, price push ups from that area without taking the low, means liquidity is not taken yet. Okay, so this is the first base of what we're trying to understand. And if we are in a bearish range and we can check what the weekly is doing, look, the weekly is bullish as hell. We have a low in the market over here and we have a high in the market over here. So the weekly is extremely bullish. The daily internal structure is stepping down bearish. So what do we know? We know that market structure traders, SMC traders, all wait for price to come in areas of interest, POIs, order blocks, supply zones, for them to wait for confirmation for price to go short. That's what they want. And that's where, yeah, obviously I like to look for potential longs. From the daily, we're jumping down to the 4 hour. We want to understand our structure multiple time frames, right? And what I clearly can see is that we have a very interesting area over here where price came in, tried to push down, come up, try to build a resistance, come down, breaks bearish market structure and likes to trade up. And this is very important, right? We have to understand where liquidity is. Well, if we know that we have a very nice supply zone over here, now we have to look for liquidity above the supply zone to see if the supply zone is going to hold or it's going to be a potential trap area. Well, let's see. What I can see is that we have a support low over here. Price broke through that support, came back into that resistance now. It's a support resistance flip. So where is the liquidity? Well, it's pretty obvious, right? It's above these highs because heaps of sellers came into the market. Breakout traders are in on their short position, heavily in profit. Price comes down. What do they expect with this resistance that price wants to melt? Following the overall structural order flow. But what most people don't understand is that the real high time frame here, the weekly, is bullish. pretty bullish. And the only thing that we are seeing now is internal price action. You have to understand that prices, if we have a bullish range and price is stepping down, this is all internal structure. Only when we break this low, we have a bearish break of structure on the structural low. And this is what most people don't get. And this is how most people get caught up in short positions all the way over here. They think that from average supply, price will keep going down, keep going down and keep going down. And this is just not how it works. We have to understand what other participants are doing. Well, this is exactly the same example as we can see over here. Then we had the trend line, we had a support area, we had all the confirmations for the trade, which was again shared to my VIP group. But this is how we start with an analysis. Start on the weekly, understanding what our major structure is telling us. Well, we have a low and we have a high because we broke bullish market structure, right? In that weekly range, we have price action stepping up with internal structure, obviously, and then broke down. What do I expect? Well, I expect price to go with the overall trend, with the overall flow, right? Pretty easy. Now, we have identified our internal structure, we have identified some liquidity areas, and we have identified our potential supply zone on the 4 hour. And this is how I start my day. Every single day, this is where I look at, this is what I want to see. And I can tell you from price, and we will let price play, that it will hunt this liquidity. It will hunt it because look, traps in sellers from the resistance, starting to move up, poof, takes everyone out. Now wait again, because I took a trade again on these areas. Look what we have over here, resistance, price comes in what? Resistance, what do we have? Trend line, what do we have? Support. It's so obvious, right? And I will go in more into detail on another video on the exact entries that we take, obviously, but this is the start of everything. This is how we really start looking at the market, and look what happens, right? Prices, boom, entry, take profit, done. And it's honestly this easy. Price is always hunting liquidity. So we start on the weekly, understanding our main structure. Then we go on the daily / 4 hour, understanding our internal structure. There we're going to look at if price is reacting from an area, supply, resistance, demand, support, POIs, order blocks, fair value gaps, whatever. And then we have our overall bias created. Because if we know that we are in this bearish range, if we know we have resistance above this supply zone, it's just obvious that price wants to go up. And this is also the case on the 15 minutes. But again, that's for next video. I want to tease you a little bit. On the 15-minute and hourly, we do exactly the same. We understand where the resistance is, where the trend lines are, where the support is, and then we wait for one side to be taken, one side to be induced, one side that thinks we go short, and then we target them and smash their stop losses. It's honestly that easy. So yeah, this is the first video. I will see you on to the next one. That will be next week somewhere, where we're going a little bit more in depth on the internal liquidity. And from that onwards, we're starting to build it down all the way to the 1 minute price action, where we look for those perfect entries. Thanks for watching. See you on to my next video. And don't forget to subscribe. Cheers.